Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
Folks, we're actually taking a look over here at Division 2 today for WARNO League play. And actually, today we're on Geisa. So, sir, tell me, what's going on today? Who's, coming to the scrum? What are they bringing along with them? What's the deal?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Genra playing the 3rd Armoured Division. And on the right hand side in red, we have Matrin playing the 4th Malthusian Division.
So we joked at one point recently that if there was a 3rd Armored Division, it would, they're in every single freaking historical game known to mankind. So we know what to expect from them. It's just main battle tanks, so solid infantry, again, if memory serves, they're one of the best Western divisions right now. But the 4th Malthusian, obviously, East Alliance kind of material, what do we expect from them?
More cheaper, cost effective, well, less cost effective due to the recent price nerfs for some of the Eastern Bloc stuff. But they're just going to have to get in close, knife fighter, use their superior infantry and fire support, such as, some good airplane strikes here. Actually knocking out one of those deadly Apache rockets and even getting a seed missile onto a pivot. Misses. F4 Phantom is going to come in hot in his tail.
And unfortunately for him, those Sparrows, for some reason, just don't seem to really want to engage him.
It's just like Vietnam. They keep bloody missing.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the SU-22 come right back in and just take him out. Oh no, the Gatling's out already. Okay.
So far in the seed missile, but once again, of course, even with seed buffs, I still don't think it's worthwhile to really take seed.
No, I mean, as it is, you're not really getting always the most active of material in the first place. Looking down south, by the way, we are going to see SPG-9s. I said this on Tuesday, I'll say it again today. SPG-9s, you gotta love them. It's just like cheap, price efficient. Their roadblocks are just really, really strong,
They can just kind of deal with everything. It's like they're like cheap anti-tank guns of this game, like your M45s or Pak-37 mils.
Exactly. And honestly, going to see a lot of that over here, especially as Matrin it's really trying to force the issue by taking a very early cap. And this is another thing we were talking actually about on Tuesday, was the notion of, yes, when you bring in command vehicles, you usually don't do that when it's a +2, but Geisa over here, well, you have a +3 that's coming right out of spawn. So is that where the meta is going? That you take a +3 because you want to put pressure? Or is it just kind of like, okay, well, we're still kind of developing the idea?
Yeah, I think people are still experimenting, but usually just taking a +3 early on is a very safe bet. Because as you've seen, Matrin's already like 10% in regards to, just over 10% in regards to actually, winning the match for points.
Sure. One of those things that we're looking at over here in terms of 3rd versus 4th, besides the fact that we have numerical advantage over here for the 4th over the 3rd, is the 3rd doesn't really want knife fights, do they? That's why they're bringing the Abrams to the fray. So how does the 3rd keep them at a distance without sacrificing too much territory?
We're seeing up north their current defensive line here. This is pretty much perfect for Genra. He doesn't need to fully capture Charlie, just as long as he keeps it neutralized, and he definitely has the ability to, with the geography he's meant to capture. You can just shoot long range of those Abrams, and apart from a few heavy anti-tank stuff, which 4th can bring up, like an ATGM team hero, yeah. There's not really too much you can do against those Abrams. Sure. They are absolute killing machines. And also just all the engineers with the Dragon ATGMs provide a whole lot of fire support.
Now the 100mm, in the meantime, down south, he's trying to engage that M113 does so. Obliterates that vehicle very, very easily. But now we're back to at least an even. Matrin's got 20% of the points he needs, like you pointed out before. And I guess, following up with that earlier question, we don't see the same level of kind of reciprocal maps that we had seen over here with like SD44, SD2. Who's got the advantage on this map right now? It's going to be the Western Alliance, I think, right? Just from a geography perspective?
Up north, yeah, they do have a bit of an advantage, but I do like what Matrin's doing down south. He's kind of slowly maneuvering through this, hedgerow, so to speak. And it seems like he's saying, oh yeah, bugger it, I'm probably not going to run out over Charlie. I don't want that smoke. I'm going to go straight to Foxtrot.
And you know what? You have to love that idea, too. Because a T-55, yeah, may not be the most effective at long range. Like you always keep saying, it's another knife-fighting kind of tank. But right now, there's no third armor slot down here. Yeah, exactly. An M3A1. Congratulations. You have a scout chopper. Congratulations. Like this is not something that you really can use and build a defensive line around.
It seems like there's a decent opportunity here for Matrin to push down south into Foxtrot and get a good foothold in here to reciprocate, you know, kind of losing half of Charlie already. We're seeing Genra already investing in quite a bit of infantry to probably try to hold out southern line. Matrin's bringing in a bunch of T-55s and more infantry of his own. So this is probably where the match will get quite hot.
For the time being, for at least, if anything, nothing else. No, but the funny thing is, too, is if you look at the northern side, you actually still see a very big buildup. So I don't know if that's Matrin trying to, you know, shout at his opponent and really encourage him to look up here in the north, or if he's going to make it a serious play towards Charlie.
I think that's just a, you know, build up of the line, defensive line. He is, yeah, getting that T-55 out. Bit of a dangerous position, of course. He doesn't have a whole lot really backing up at T-55 currently. But when he does capture so, that will allow him to put some more points onto the scoreboard at least. And honestly, for also a map like Iskan, when you don't exactly have like a central contested point to fight over, where matches you become more stalematy, getting those early command vehicles can actually pay off quite well. Because it can be hard to gain that +2, +3 advantage when it's not like an odd number of capture zones on the map.
So I might have missed it, but I think a seed actually was effective just now. Engage, I think he actually just took out... Yeah?
Yeah, the pivot.
Ah, okay. But, you know, so the seed actually getting something worthwhile. So it's like a peon, it's right twice a day.
Yeah.
So
Eventually it has to hit something, statistically speaking.
Yeah, unfortunately, usually it's the ground. So, Hind to the south, though, really, I think, trying to lock down that road coming east, so that Abrams, as it kind of comes, you know, prowling on in, isn't going to be the best opportunity for him.
Yeah, we're already seen, like, Genra set up a decent defensive line down south, at least. I mean, you don't really have light tanks in the 3rd Armor Division, those Abrams are bloody expensive, but the Bradley's pretty much filling that role quite well here. And then Matrin does have some T-55s, but if Genra can just keep his engagement where it currently is right now, use the range for his advantage, he should be able to pick off a few kills if the Hinds aren't blowing him up to Kingdom Come.
That does certainly seem to be an opportunity. But I think we're going to start to see a push on Charlie from the south.
Yeah?
Oh, no, excuse me, not Charlie. Really more from Echo. You can start to swing this around. He's had a couple of scout troops over these M150s. But those guys with tows, you know, and with the mod deuces, that's great. But that's, again, not going to stand up to a concerted attack.
Seeing just his big push start to envelop, I do like how Matrin's going to be moving up some BMP troops all the way to the southern side to get into that forest. The T-55's just managing to actually get some pretty good pickoffs here. I mean, the nice thing about those runs is that you do have those long-range ATGM. And yes, they're not exactly going to penetrate an Abrams frontally or do a whole lot of damage, but you can outrange it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Usually with, I just want to throw in, like, with ATGMs, like, I've noticed this also back in Wargame, it's not so much having to have expensive ATGMs to kill vehicles. If you're on a, you know, controlling an Abrams tank, and then like 3 or 4 ATGMs coming towards you, they may be really crap runs which don't actually do much damage, but you're still evacuating the dance floor. You ain't gonna take that risk. You're not gonna zoom in on the missile mid-flight and be like, oh no, it's a Fagoot and not a Concourse. I'm fine.
Exactly. Exactly. No, we are going to see the Hind down to the south actually getting really engaged here by that Chaparral. But that Chappie doesn't quite get the kill that he's looking for. So the Hind, although he is barely alive, he still is alive. That's the important part for him.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty important, I think, for Matrin to really make good use of his Hinds, as they are very good, cheap flight support vehicles, flying flight support vehicles. Not as good as the Apache Rocket currently, but especially for 4th mod shooter, it doesn't have a whole lot of anti-tank. Just not even the ATGMs, but just the rockets can actually provide a whole heap of, well, useful fire support.
Now, interesting, we are going to see the, oh geez, the Tow Cobra. The Tobra. does take out a T-55 to the south. Doesn't quite kill all of the, let's say, pressure on there right now. And indeed, geez, there's still enough T-55s to cause more than enough problems there. Abrams getting pushed back. We saw the PVAR just go down. And a lot of this infantry, yes, he'll definitely cause those Mott Schutzen to pay the piper a little bit, but not enough. Not anywhere near enough.
Yeah, it's a blind bombing run there down south, just hitting, well, the forest full of trees, so to speak. And once again bringing in the seed to air deterrence. And I believe he blapped something.
He did.
No, he missed. No, he missed. Of course.
No, he got the helicopter.
Oh yeah, it has anti-aircraft missiles. I forgot.
Yes, it does. So that's the only time really to bring seeds in. The R60s are nice and all that, but oof, takes that second one.
Yeah, most of the time when we've seen these aircraft, they usually just do a better job just blowing up everything else.
Themselves included. With that now, with all the aircraft dead and all that kind of fixed wing, rotary wing, everything really dead down south, we have the M24D, so this is that air-to-ground, for crazy amounts. Should be able to support these Fallschirmjägers really kind of right back on through without too much really to struggle against that. Yeah, geez, the cohesion's getting obliterated on those guys.
Those rockets, absolutely nuts. Fallschirmjägers should be able to finish them off. But the question here for Matrin is, where does he actually go in and make the concerted push? Because he's managed to trade pretty effectively down south, considering his division. He needs to actually gain some bloody territory.
True. And again, this is where I would opine that you see that M150 between Echo and what's that down there? Is that Foxtrot? Yes. Between Echo and Foxtrot, left-hand side between this, touching Soviet forces right now. I would spear through there because there's enough blind territory from the north that you can really put some stuff in there and kind of very much batter over Austerlitz it. Hit both sides, you have good interior lines. Yes, they're going to get hit from both sides as well. But you have a main arterial, and no one can do anything to stop you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Matrin is actually in a pretty cool position. I didn't even think about his ability to even hit up north as well. Like, that's just such a vital point in the map. You just have, great pathways. Like, he could try to maybe clear up north. I think that's going to be deadly, especially just trying to clear out Charlie. But even if he was just to get a foothold in the southern area of Charlie and south of Echo, and then get to see, this is a battle of footholds. You don't need to capture the entire bloody zones in this map. Just enough to decap and gain some points from the scoreboard. You'd be in a pretty good spot.
Exactly. So actually, I saw some artillery rounds coming over here from the right-hand side. Command zone lost. So sneaking in the mechanized rifle leader over here. Good luck at figuring that out there, Matcher. And I think, unfortunately for him, he's not going to know really where that command vehicle is, or in this case, command foot sloggers. And it's really hard to get anybody across that territory.
Yeah. It feels like he's just very much boxing his position as this too much long-range deadly nonsense from Genra's side to really push. But at the same time, I mean, we got a slow +2 here from Genra, so he doesn't really need to push out either. If he can just keep Matrin contained in the center, he's good. He can pretty easily catch up to 900 points, I believe, within the current time limit.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. At this point, I'm wondering, Matrin, does he just bring in artillery and start obliterating that tree line? Because you've got to know that your opponent's just burying that line in just flesh and metal. I feel like that's probably the way to kind of go. It's either that, or swing your artillery assets, swing your air power, and just obliterate everything over here down south. Hammer Echo. Foxtrot, Hammer Foxtrot like crazy.
Especially once battle here has gotten really static now. It's become like Roll Draw Run. We're past the 1914 period, and we're now starting to see the deadliness of 15 and 16.
Well, we are seeing a bunch of engineers, I say a bunch, two whole half squads, kind of prowl along the tree line just in case. And not for nothing, I feel like this is basically just both sides trying to build up forces ready for that next major attack. Which I understand, but I mean, the more you build up your forces, the more time you give your opponent to build up his forces and to find the weaknesses in his defense. So it becomes a bit of a catch-22 right there.
I think the run advantage for Matrin down south, he has managed to get into the far southern forest line, and if he can keep his engagement CQC, he should definitely be coming out on top. His main thing to be concerned about are Abrams and Bradleys, and RPGs are pretty good counters to both. Well, certain RPGs. Some RPGs are better than others.
So we do have two 122s engaging as a setup team. This tow team, though, in a different zip code. So the 122 is firing blind, and they are taking out that road, turning it into a bit of a Swiss cheese moment there. But doing really nothing else besides just kind of, you know, preserving jobs. So I think we actually are going to start to see a push down south. We're going to see it swing around. He's going to try to maybe go through those trees and try to find that command vehicle. He's going to find himself very frustrated for sure. But I feel like the Fallschirmjägers and the Pioneers, the Flamethrowers, are going to move east-west over here across. They're going to right smack dab in those M2A2s.
It's going to really come down to whether these Bradleys can provide enough fire support, because pretty much with the Bradleys and fire team laws, you're not buying the fire team law, you're buying the Bradley with infantry attached along it as well.
But that's understandable. Like, that to me almost makes sense that the Bradley is better for me. Ooh, Tow gets taken out in the center. That is an almost more important idea behind for the fire support vehicle. It's like the half tracks back in SD2.
Yeah. Especially when like the half tracks were bloody broken for a period of time and just mowing everybody down.
True.
Those are fun times.
We actually are seeing right now an attempted CV snipe on that T-55 Kampfpanzer kind of Führer over here.
I'll just get shot down, yo.
Well, I was going to say that the engineers, I think, are still in the area. I'm sorry, yes, sir?
Oh yeah, the seed plane did get shot down over the map. I've seen SU-22 going in on the Abrams, doesn't actually do that much damage. Another plane goes down. Will the other SU-22 make it out?
I think he will. He had everything kind of suppressed down, so that worked out well for him.
It's taken a bit of damage, but he will survive.
Hey. So, I mean, the Fallschirmjäger is going to move east to west, like I thought, across the roadside. Unfortunately for him, there's 3 fire teams ready to lay down the laws on them. And the Abrams up north, pounding that lead T-55, and the Fallschirmjägers are caught out in the open with very, very little support in the meantime.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty crucial period here for Matrin to actually really commit to his push. He does have a foothold into the southern point. If he can just get some more infantry into that tree line, probably some T-55s at Rel, I don't think he's going to kill the Abrams, but he could definitely ward them off.
Well, I think that's what the Concurs is there for, to actually engage the M113s. Who knows? I've got the Bradley. Very nice. The T-55s also engage the 113s. Okay. So, yeah, the Mod Deuce not going to do a whole lot when Mod doesn't have a boomstick as deadly as a T-55.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Hinds also being brought in as well. Quite a lot of Hinds. They may have anti-tank, but it was Phalange missiles, not exactly anti-Abrams missiles. But as you see, the rockets are enough to just stun everything else to, well, make those Abrams think twice about pushing up.
True. Although we are going to see it attempt to fire something off, and that missile apparently does not really want to do anything worthwhile.
Oh.
Back in this position, we are going to actually see Mutschützen moving across the open area. BMP rush kind of demi-backed up by T-55s and meeting quite the ferocious firestorm in the meantime, but we are seeing a push.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to survive all that long. He doesn't really have any infantry to really solidify this area here. He might at least kill the Apache rockets, that'd be good for him. Oh, down south? Oh, behind us. Getting blapped, yeah, forced back. Just that infantry fight in the forest. He goddamn deadly for everybody.
Well, the T-55 Kampfpanzer Führer also did go down. So that command, let's say, match that was going on there, not lasting too much longer. And yeah, we are seeing those air-to-grounds just absolutely obliterating those flash troops.
Yeah. He's gonna get some hits on the Bradleys as well. So once again, just very indecisive engagements. Like both sides are getting kills and the ability to beat their chest a bit, but nothing like substantial in regards to gaining territory. I mean, we saw Matrin try to bring up a CV down south. Had it in there briefly, but oh, that got blapped.
Well, we're also seeing too that there's actually some counter battery taking out artillery over here on the Soviet, excuse me, on the East German side. Um, and 122 is trying to find that Chappie, but the Chappie is apparently wise to his ideas because he's shifting position. Makes perfect sense here.
Yep. Especially with anti-air, and especially against an opponent who, like, you know, actually marks your anti-air positions. You want to be moving your, like, big SAM pieces constantly. Otherwise, well, this happens.
You deserve what you get, basically, yeah. So there's one Bradley now still in the southern forest. I don't know if that's really going to be a long-term solution. But regardless, there's at least Bradley in the southern forest.
He's a little bit alone. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of anti-tank here to really stop in that Pioneer flamethrower. He's going to have a hard time blapping him. Yeah, just very static defensive lines. We're seeing another big build-up over here from Matrin. A whole lot more mod shooting, some more T-55s. I mean, Genra's done a very good job of keeping all of his Abrams tanks alive, and especially on a map like this, that can really snowball out of control for Matrin. Because he does have the ability to pick off a couple, but when there's like 4 to 5 of them on the map, and it gets a bit difficult.
Exactly. Now, the West Alliance is already starting to work over that northern kind of concentration, so I'm wondering if we're going to see maybe, not a crazy push, maybe a delicate probe as a couple of the anti-tank positions do get taken out. Yeah, it's not the most devastating of artillery strikes, but regardless, every little bit does help here.
And I'll be curious to see if Genra does decide to maybe go for a far northern push. He can at least zone out the forest, but once he gets inside, it becomes a bit of a different ball game when you have to fight CQC style. But once again, he's not too much in a rush. He's getting that slow +2. He's only 300 points behind Matrin. And I believe that's right, Matrin's going to be bringing up an infantry CV down south because he realizes that he can't really afford his bleed for much longer.
Well, that's the thing here, too, though. It's like, where do you sneak it? You can't sneak it too many places.
No.
Everything is in the open. Either the Abrams has to die, these maybe put it in that corner of the forest. Like, you don't have a lot of great spots.
There was one really, like, fun strategy in Red Dragon when you get into a situation like this, where it's like, okay, I need to sneak a CV into a zone, but there's nowhere to play hide and seek. What people would do is that they would drop a crap ton of smoke in just like a general area, and then they just, put it like smoke in the water, and just keep out one area, 24/7, constant smoke barrage.
That's actually kind of funny you mentioned smoke in the water. Actually, you know, as we're kind of waiting over here for the next push, I do have to kind of drop a little bit of nerd knowledge here. According to Deep Purple themselves, Smoke on the Water, that famous guitar riff in the beginning?
Yeah.
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony inverted.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't even know
that. Yeah. Neither did I. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, Mrs. Khan actually brought to my attention that she kind of, you know, tripped across herself. And I was like, I gotta find this out. And I was like, yeah. Came back from a legit interview from Deep Purple themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Exactly. Now I wonder how many Easter eggs that is going to reach in the meantime. In the meantime, we are going to see artillery going back and forth, trying to go and just start picking off these anti-air. So here's the other question here, too. It feels like Genra is really trying to prep for a major air push. I don't know if this is going to be, you know, Phantoms necessarily, or maybe the F-111s. I don't know. But I get the feeling that all of that effort that he's putting on it, it's not just for this one. It's not just for this one Apache. That can't be.
We're just seeing like a firing line down south across the road. Both sides just going at it. Line getting a bit too close, and the autocannons, well, doing what autocannons do best.
Pausing the hind to try to do 360 no scopes.
Yeah. I see the 50 cal as well. But no, he's going to be able to get out. Maybe?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
In the meantime, otherwise, I mean, looking elsewhere, we are seeing a couple of scout choppers here and there. We are going to see some more SPWs being thrown to the front. And all those T-55s, yeah, I think that there's going to be a push from that arterial, looking back to cut off between Echo and Foxtrot one more time. I don't know if there's enough there any further.
Yeah, I think if he does try to go for the in-between push, he's just going to get blapped by the Abrams. He needs to keep, I think, just putting pressure on the far southern side to win this forest engagement. It's a bloody meat grinder, but unless he uses like a bunch of smoke, or, you know, manages to suppress those Abrams efficiently, he's not going to be able to push through that area at all.
Well, SPG-9, once more, doing its thing and getting it, you know, iterated for it. So he's had that Mordschützenführer being brought on in, and I don't know that I like actually bringing in that infantry. I get why. I do. I don't like it.
I wonder how long it'll take before he does get blapped. Is a decent amount of artillery from Genra's side, so if he spots that infantry CV, well, there's not going to be much of an infantry CV left very soon.
No, and actually this comes at a very critical point here too, as Genra does take the points advantage. He's shoots them with the SPWs. They're charging north. I don't like it, but they're charging north.
They're trying. If he can get close into the forest, he can start, well, through battle of attrition, knocking out his engineers one by one. But once again, HC Abrams, he's heavy tanks. Oh god. Good god.
SU-22s come in, obliterate the command vehicle.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely ignore what I say. That was a very clutch bombing run. He cleared out 2/3 of the forces, yeah.
Now, it wasn't for free, mind you. That was quite a bit of, let's say, a deadly price to pay. But regardless, it was worth it.
Yeah, the opportunity cost in that was very much a worthwhile trade, because he is now getting a good foothold in between Echo and Charlie here, and he actually might be able to even capture Echo entirely, as no Abrams currently in the area to stop this. All of them are all the way up north and down south, as Genra's putting the pedal to the metal on both flanks and committing full.
So we have to go and apologize a little bit to Matrin over here, not because of the tempo, but just because we did not see that coming. Actually, I still think it was supposed to be from the western side, that air power, but the east coming up big on that.
Yeah, I also really like up north Genra's doing a massive push here, and he's even using smoke to completely cover up that forest. I love that.
You know, but what's the immediate takeaway? You're still not into the actual engagement. Here comes an HE bomb run. This is going to hurt. Bad. Oh, wow. That did not hurt as bad as I thought it was going to.
Oh.
Huh. Okay. Forget what I just said. But Falchion Makers, in the meantime, once they finally have those Bradleys run right up on them, they should be able to take those guys out, if they see them, of course.
Yeah. Gonna get very close here. The Metis guys, I believe, at close range can't actually shoot their ATGMs.
No.
So I think these Bradley should be able to mop up shop here, especially with the Abrams at point blank against these T-55s. There's gonna be absolute chaos one way or another.
And that's fair, but I feel like... Okay, yeah, the hind moving up. That's not the worst thing in the world. Infantry leader in the south does get taken out in the meantime, so we're back to a 50-50 lead. And actually probably a good thing right now that Genra is continuing to hide his mutt to the north.
Oh yeah. Like right in the corner. He's also bringing up another CV. I think he's going to try to get that back into Charlie once again. And he has pretty much cleared out the complete northern area of Charlie. Or almost. That hind has proven to be a bit of a pain, and with no anti-air, unless he like suicide to plane to knock it down, which I think would be a pretty good call at this moment, he might actually take some heavy casualties.
Yeah, and that's the question, isn't it? Is how much do you really want to go and lose for this? Because those tanks, I would say, for Genra matter a lot more than those tanks do over here for Matrin.
Yeah, those Abrams are a bit more expensive to replace compared to a T-55A.
Well, there's that run you were talking about, but the Eagle does not get the kill. And indeed, command vehicle gets forced back. The 107s are not able to kind of cover as that M151 gets pushed by the SPW-70.
For all the KPVT be enough to knock him down, yo? He's stunned.
No, it's a 15 mil. Like it's not. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not kill worthy.
It's only 1 HP on that CPO column. There's a chance, but never mind. HA Abrams comes in and ruins that chance.
And the important thing here still is, while the command gets secured, the command gets lost again immediately.
Yeah.
So Hinds continue. I mean, this is a Hind quarter right now. They're just obliterating everything for them.
Yeah, and with 10 minutes left, like, Matrin does have that slight point advantage, and this is going to come down, I think, to battle of CVs. We're just seeing pressure being put all over now, as both sides are running low, and that one pressure's commodity, you know, none of us can
Manpower.
really get back. Napalm?
I was going to say manpower.
Oh man, I thought you said napalm for a second.
Oh.
But I was going to say time. You know, I was trying to be like all philosophical. But no, manpower as well, I guess, is a good answer. Unless you got cloning Vatch.
That's true. That's true, but unfortunately this isn't Wayland or 40k or, well, there's our military police moving forward to engage. So Flush Makers actually might get 86. Not because the military police are really that good, but just because the Flush Makers are going to get outnumbered eventually.
Yeah, and those military police are just cheap fire support. I mean, the one nice thing is that the recoilless rifle they have can also be used against infantry. So they're just, I don't know, it's like very cheap fire support. But without anything to actually be substantial, yeah, the military police are just going to get picked off because they're all alone.
That's true. That is certainly true. But the CVs have gotten back in to sneak a little bit of space here and there. Hind in the center, getting obliterated. The question is that going to be enough to kill the Eagle? He's going to rotate, pull a hard G, and he's going to make it out. Jeez.
Yeah. He is fast. That's the nice thing about his F-15s. They're fast and pretty defensive with all the ECMs they have. Like, you can take some pretty risky maneuvers with them.
Now down south, the Apache doing very well. Played its target long enough for some anti-air to help take out that Hind, but also now he's starting to pick off some of that spotting down south of what had been a very, very Eastern Alliance kind of center, no longer really having that same opportunity anymore.
Yeah, it's been pretty much mopped up here, as we've seen Matrin's attention has been refocused up north. It's going to be about wherever he can fully exploit up north. He needs to really knock out both CVs here to pretty much give him a nice point advantage before this real big nasty American armored force from the southern side makes its way up north.
But he's going to get it because he's already got Machschützen against a mechanized leader and the dragons of the engineer dragons. And the Machschützen, yeah, they don't have the numbers at the moment, but they have support. And Counselor over there is, yeah, there goes the leader. That's a big loss right there. And the SPW 70s in that next position to the west, not able to get line of sight on them. The 107, yeah, the 107 mil not in time to save the leader.
Oh, and then Matrin getting that nice slow +2 now, which especially at this pretty much 7-minute mark, that's not bad at all.
No, it is not, which is just in time, too. So you can start to see artillery's doing this nice crawling barrage up the road down south. You can see one Abrams with M113s on either side of it. Problem with that is that there still are Aufklärer taking out, jeez. One takes out the Abrams, and the M113s, I don't care if you have a mod deuce, I have a lot more infantry, I can bury you in flesh, my friend.
Yeah, that's actually very good. He's been able to pick his Abrams off run by run. Seems like Genra's has been a bit too cocky with him, especially against an infantry division like this. If you don't have support covering your Abrams, you know, a sneaky ATGM is just going to sideshot you. As you can see, that's not exactly an ideal circumstance to be in if you're an Abrams tank.
Exactly, exactly. You know what? If you trade, for example, this Aufklärer over here good for an Abrams, that's fine, dude. I am happy to go and trade a rinky-dink, you know, spotting unit for a really, really expensive piece.
Yeah. We're seeing a Hind as well being brought in down south to help stabilize his position. Matrin's just in a pretty good spot. I mean, Genra does have a decent amount of infantry still far up north to try and counterattack. But at the same time, Matrin's, just as we short started the match, Genra's position up north is pretty beefy. Not a whole lot of quality in here, but it's a whole lot of a heck of quantity.
Well, and here's the question, I suppose, because seeing the 151 CP kind of hiding in the northwest corner, is this a consequence of Third Armored having the quality, but also the associated cost as an issue? Or is this just a matter of misusing those resources and now not being able to call on them?
Yeah, I think it's just getting outmaneuvered, yeah, and he kind of pushed himself into, especially up north, CQC positions and overextending yourself. And with Third Armored, like, I'm trying to think in like SD2 analogy, kind of like with like a high-end Panzer division. Like you have a lot of very good quality units, but if you lose them, it's bloody expensive. You can't really afford to be losing your Abrams tanks or really your Bradleys in such quantities. Especially considering like you can get what half a dozen like T-55As for one M1A1 Abrams.
True. True, and that's the thing. That was the thing actually right before we actually started the cast on this too, as I said to you, okay, great, you know, Abrams are great from distance. You said, yeah, T-55s are knife fighters. And that was the question, was how can one play to the strength without sacrificing enough numbers to make the other one, you know, let's say, comfortable with it, with the fighting situation?
And then Genra still has, you know, quite a lot of Abrams. Well, not a whole lot, but he still has enough Abrams to do decent damage, and he is bringing out a lot of them right now. But okay, you blow up a bunch of T-55s, you still have to move on through and clear up the infantry positions. And Abrams are decent at it, they have a lot of machine guns, but they need a little bit of support.
Well, you can see that right now, even Abrams moving into the CP over here, right in a central position, and getting engaged by two separate RPG units. Congratulations, that's fine. I'll lose that. That's not a big deal for me.
The Abrams down south probably wishes he had the task package installed, good god. Yeah, it's once again, that's why you don't want to be pushing up tanks by themselves. Even the Su-22 comes in and just annihilates the Abrams from the face of the earth. Who needs ATGMs when you have enough high explosives?
Well, and that's the question, isn't it? Is it just, it's high explosives are really obliterating an awful lot. Wait, what the heck is sitting behind enemy lines here? There's an off-clear way behind enemy lines.
He's been there for quite a while in the forest line, but he's decided to push it up a bit. So he should see, well, he should clearly see the bloody artillery pieces here. It'd be curious if he does decide to counter battery, and yep, that's what he's doing.
Well, and that's good, but, you know, at this point, that's just kind of icing on the cake. He could actually give back and just go back to a 50-50 split and still pick the victory here. See, in the meantime, going to go straight at that Abrams. Other Abrams to the north of him, he's going to go have broken tracks, but broken legs aren't going to stop him from being deadly. Unfortunately, like you said before, time certainly will.
And he doesn't really have a whole lot of infantry here to push up. Honestly, considering just how this match has been going, I wouldn't be surprised if Genra is just out of infantry. Especially against more Chechens, if you're, you know, getting into those meat grinder infantry fights, you're going to lose out eventually just due to sheer numbers of more Chechen.
True. True. Now, Eagle over here being thrown in at a last-ditch attempt to try to take out some of these Hinds. Unfortunately, not really able to survive that, obviously.
Oh.
Abrams, in the meantime, also, fuel explosion. Not for nothing. I feel like there's a fuel explosion. That means the tank has also gone boom. But I'm not a tanky, so, like, you know.
It doesn't seem to be an ideal situation to be in regardless.
Yeah, I mean, there was, what was it? It was something back in, I think it was in World War II. But there was a, it's a German Panzer commander. There was an unspoken brotherhood of the number of times your tank had exploded around you. And the fact that there was times plural made me really reconsider about how attractive that was as a weapons platform. And the Abrams too, I mean, great that these guys can just kind of take it, you know, take a lick and keep on ticking. Unfortunately, engine destroyed, you know, turret stuck. That one Abrams has just been obliterated constantly. We'll see. Here we go. We see a tap out and an extremely bloody, you know, red force, blue force here.
Yeah, it was pretty back and forth, especially like early on. It felt like anyone's game, but like I said earlier, it just felt like Genra overextended, probably a bit too much in that match, and really paid the iron price.
Well, let's also we may have to go. I'm not saying this. We have to completely rethink our positions on the seeds. But the SU-22 over here, it's really paid for himself.
He did good at blowing up the non-anti-aircraft, which honestly, I'm going to give Seed a little bit of credit. I think the one good thing they can be used for, like, the reason you'd want to use them in the not Siege role is that if you're flying over enemy lines and blowing up helicopters, that extra ECM defense probably helps you a bit. It's a bit overpriced for that role, but you can, as you can see, do some work.
True. True. Now, Heinz proving their worth here as well. Picking off lots and lots of infantry with Ulmer. Picking off lots and lots of supply over here with Jokel. I mean, you're looking maybe not at the greatest weapons platforms in terms of the BTR Matschutzens or even a lot of the SPWs. But those Heinz, I think those are certainly the heroes of today's match.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Third Armor does have, like, decent anti-helicopter, anti-air, like the Chaparrals and whatnot. But they're very, especially the Chaparrals with low missile counter, micro-intensive and pretty vulnerable because they don't really have any armor.
True. That's very true. On the opposite side, you can see Abrams in the meantime. Abrams doing what they need to do. Apaches, Abrams, like, you can kind of see where the Third Armor really puts all of its eggs. Unfortunately, except for Forbes, a lot of those other guys didn't really, you know, pick up their part of the tab today.
Yeah. They did diggity darndest.
They certainly did. But regardless, well done over here to Matrin. Very, very good fight over here from Genra at the same time, though, too.
Yeah, very good match between both.
Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.